city and in the country. Then they went out to see what had happened and came to Jesus and found the man from whom the demons had departed sitting at the feet of Jesus, clothed and in his right mind. And they were afraid. They also, who had seen it, told them by what means he who had been demon possessed was healed. Then the whole multitude of the surrounding region of the Gadarenes asked him to depart from them, for they were seized with great fear. And he got into the boat and returned. Now the man from whom the demons had departed begged him that he might be with him, but Jesus sent him away, saying, "Return to your own house and tell what great things God has done for you." And he went his way and proclaimed throughout the whole city what great things Jesus had done for him. There is an entire lesson here in spiritual warfare that we need to learn. This is vital for right now. Now, we read this. So let's begin. Let's begin breaking this down. There is a relationship between the storm that occurred and the demons and the man at Gadarene, which was on the other side. Every time you see storms, whether in a man or otherwise, the approach is the same. You deal with the spirit first. You see, we have to understand what was going on in Gadarene to understand why this storm came. You see, some people, their prosperity was happening because there was no salvation in the land. The spirits were working through the people to prosper them in a way that was not of God. Jesus arriving at a new level, crossing over to the other side, right? He's arriving at another level to deal with another encounter. When Jesus arrived at Gadarene, it was not the leadership, the rulers who came to greet him. It was not the head of the city that came to meet him. It was a madman filled with a legion of devils. You ever wonder why? Who told the madman that there were people coming from the other side? Who informed him? Because he was waiting for them. Who informed this madman that Jesus and his disciples were crossing over from the other side? To understand this, we must go back to the boat with Jesus and his disciples. Luke chapter 8, verses 22 through 25. Now it happened on a certain day that he got into a boat with his disciples, and he said to them, "Let us cross over to the other side of the lake." And they launched out. But as they sailed, he fell asleep, and a windstorm came on the lake, and they were filling with water and were in jeopardy. And they came to him and awoke him, saying, and no, that's not the jeopardy that used to be with Alex Trebek. And they awoke him, saying, "Master, Master, we are perishing." Then he rose and rebuked the wind and the raging of the water, and they ceased, and there was a calm. But he said to them, "Where is your faith?" And they were afraid and marveled, saying to one another, "Who can this be? For he commands even the winds and water, and they obey him." Notice what is going on there. There's a storm that hits out of nowhere when they decide that they're going to cross over to the other side. The disciples are petrified in the boat, and Jesus is asleep in the middle of the storm. So Jesus isn't fretting in the middle of the storm. The disciples are. Notice what Jesus does when he is woken up. He does not address or reply to the men or water first. He rebukes the wind. His first focus and attention immediately goes to the wind. You cannot see the wind, but you can see the effects of the wind, the raging waves and the rocking boat and the disciples freaking out were all the effects of what the wind was doing. The wind represents the spirit. So Jesus's attention on that boat was focused on the source of the storm, not the effects of the storm. Jesus is concerned about the source. He's not concerned about the effects, because he knows if he deals with the source, it's going to stop the effects. All this storm to free one man in Gadarene, who may have been equal to 10 cities. Jesus was crossing over to free an evangelist who was going to evangelize then the whole city and free that city. You know, in scripture, it's interesting because Jesus's ways, what he did in scripture. One moment he'd be teaching and dealing with a crowd, and in the next moment you would see Jesus with that same attention and fervor focused on dealing with just one person. You see, Jesus looks at things from a will of God outcome perspective. He's concerned about the outcome, right? He's concerned about the will of God. With the Gadarenes, okay, in that area, men were prospering because there was oppression in the land. The madman of Gadarene is your proof there was oppression in the land. He had a legion of demons, thousands in him. That storm was proof that there was oppression in that land. That madman that Satan was attempting with such force to keep in bondage was going to become the evangelist for that whole land and help free it.